Hello to everybody, I'm Pina, I come from Italy and I wanted to give my 2 cents on Reno Jackson, the new legendary card from the first wing of League of Explorers. It really seems like it could be a game changer, it could really slow down the meta, which I'm really excited about. But I'm not going to give my personal opinion. I'm not an authority on the topic of Hearthstone, so I'm not even a legendary player. But I'm gonna take a look at the math behind it. So I prepared a spreadsheet. Let's dive into it. So I clearly don't have any real data to work on in order to compute the probabilities. Therefore, I need to make some assumptions, and these are the assumptions I made. First one is that Reno Jackson wins you the game when you play it against aggro decks, which is kind of optimistic, but if you play well and you have board control when you play Reno Jackson, it's basically assured that you're going to win. Second assumption is that you don't draw additional cards, which is kind of pessimistic, but I will show you later what happens when you draw 1 or 2 cards in the first turns of the game. Third assumption is that you don't have any reduction mana cost systems like Innovate, which would let you play Reno Jacksons on turn 4 or 3rd in case you have the coin. Fourth assumption is that your deck is made of 30 different cards, which is also an optimistic assumption, because you may want to have a duplicate card in your deck because it's really valuable. But the fact of having a duplicate card would reduce the probability of having Reno Jackson in your hand and that his effect is active. Finally, the fifth assumption is that we are considering only the games where you would lose without Reno. So, in case you're going to lose against an aggro deck, it's quite safe to assume that you're going to lose between the opponent's 4th turn and the opponent's 13th turn, more or less. So, it could happen that you lose on the opponent's 2nd or 3rd turn because of some crazy combo, but it's quite unlikely. In the same way, it could happen that you lose in the late game, but if you lose in the late game and you're a control deck and you're playing against an aggro deck, well, A, your deck is shitty, it's a shitty control deck, or B, you're being very unlucky. So we are not considering any of the extreme cases. So here you can see the number of cards drawn, the available mana, and the probability of finding Reno, which is basically just the number of cards drawn divided by 30, the total number of cards in the deck. Okay, so in case you're going to lose after your 3rd turn or after your 4th turn, well, there's nothing you can do. Reno Jackson is not going to save the day because you don't have enough mana to summon him. But if you arrive at your 5th turn and you still have the coin and you have found Reno Jackson, then it means that you're gonna steal 3% of the games, which is quite good. So if we compute the same for all the turns and we sum these results, we get 33.33%, which is the number of stolen gains from the aggro deck, which is quite a lot. So think about this. Let's say that in the actual meta, aggro decks are more popular, or win more. So let's say that the average matchup aggro versus control is 60-40. So 60% of the times the aggro deck wins, 40% of the times the control deck wins. If the control deck, thanks to Reno, is able to steal 1/3 of the wins of the aggro deck, that means that it's not 60-40, but it's 40-60 now. So 40% of the times the aggro deck is going to win, and 60% of the times the control deck is going to win. So it's quite a lot. It's a big impact on the meta. So I also computed the percentage of stolen wins in case you're able to draw one additional card, and it is 36%. Instead, if you're able to draw two additional cards, the percentage goes up to almost 39%. Following the trend, we can see that if we were able to draw 3 cards, we will have a 40% stolen win percentage, and so on. Although it's quite difficult to draw 4 or more cards in the first turns of the game. Going back to the hypothesis of 0 additional cards drawn, I computed the percentage of stolen wins in case you have a duplicate in your deck. If you have a duplicate, it goes the percentage goes down to 22%. So it's basically 2/3 of the original or of the original percentage. It's quite a drop down. So yeah, my final thoughts on this is that I really hope that Reno Jackson changes the meta, but we must see if we are able to build decks made of 30 different cards that are actually competitive. Because, well, when you build a deck, you try to optimize your deck. So you try to put only the good cards in it, and you don't put the bad cards in it. When you put 30 different cards, there is a good chance that you're going to put some second best option, some card that you would normally not put there because it's worse than other cards. So if you're able to build such decks and make them competitive, then yeah, the meta is going to change. Of course it's going to change. The numbers are speaking. So let's see what happens. Bye. I hope my English was not terrible.